Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. And check this out, y'all. Check this out. This is a little deep right here. You know, a lot of people believe that when they come to prison that the people that you grew up with, the people that you love the most, are going to always be there for you and going to stand by you and all of that kind of stuff, right? And I wish that I could say that that's true for everybody. For me, for the most part, that's been true. My wife left me, understandable, you know what I'm saying? I've had a lot of friends that I grew up with that I haven't been able to get in contact with, but when I was in my backsliding days, y'all, you know, having cell phones and all this and that, I can call any of them and they talk to me for hours. So I still have that relationship with a lot of my friends. But one of the reasons that you can't call everybody that you grew up with in your life because they only allow you to have like 10 numbers on your list plus your lawyers. You feel me? So you got to pick and choose who you're going to be calling throughout your incarceration. And you can only change your number 3 or 4 times a year. So you can't change numbers all the time and keep up with everybody. It's just not possible when you're in the penitentiary. It's just what it is, right? But one of the things that, one of the stories that have always fascinated me was family members that betray each other, you know, when one of them goes to prison, right? And there was these 2 cousins, right, named Sam and Matthew. Now, Sam had gotten locked up. And he had like a 10 or 12 year sentence, something like that, right? It wasn't life. It wasn't like he'd be gone forever, you know what I'm saying? And with good time, he could probably get out in 4 or 5 years or something like that, right? But Sam had this girlfriend. I'm talking about this girlfriend was loyal to him, you know, and when he was on the streets and had his back and would do anything for him, you know, in the beginning while he was incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? But something happened. And I'm going to tell you what happened that turned her against him. And this story is about how foul your own family can get when it comes to, you know, treating you when somebody goes to prison, man. You never know how a person really feels about you until you are at your lowest and see how they treat you when you are at your lowest. And I'm going to tell you something. Other than an illness or the loss of a loved one, prison is as low as you can go. I'm just telling you. Prison is as low as you can go. I understand, you know, there are situations on the town where you might not be in a good situation and all this and that, but the one thing that you have out there is freedom. You don't have freedom in here. When I say freedom, I mean freedom of choice. Freedom of choice. In here, yes, you always have a choice. I know people say you always have a choice, blah, blah, blah. But when somebody else is deciding for you what those options are, then you don't have a choice. You feel me? It's different if you go to the refrigerator and you say, I want to have some Moose Tracks ice cream versus vanilla bean ice cream. Right? You got a choice. But what if somebody else told you that you got a choice between vanilla bean and Moose Tracks ice cream? What if you didn't have that choice? They just decided for you what your options are going to be. Then that's not freedom. That's not freedom. Because when you're on the town, if you don't like the options that you have, you can go do something about that. In here, there's nothing that you can do about it. You have to accept it for what it is and move forward. Now, in this situation that I'm talking about with Sam and Matthew, Sam had this girlfriend that was beautiful, y'all. Inside and out. She held him down. You feel me? And she loved him dearly. But when Sam and Matthew were on the streets together, they were thick as thieves. You know, you see one, you see the other. You know, and Sam's girlfriend even hung out with them from time to time. You know what I'm saying? They were just like a family. You know, because Sam and Matthew, they loved each other. And Sam never had any idea, any inkling that Matthew was jealous of him. Never had an idea that this was happening. So Sam's first year in, Matthew is bringing Sam's girlfriend to visit, you know, so that he could continue the relationship with her in the best way that he could, and so on and so forth. But on the way home, Sam's girlfriend, she would often cry because she missed him and she did not want to leave him. And she longed for the day that Sam got out of prison so that they could be together and go on with their lives. Now, she was in school, going to college, so she's getting herself together. She's preparing for her future. She's preparing for her future. Matthew, on the other hand, not understanding that what Sam is going through is what he should be looking to and saying, that's not what I want. He's out in the streets doing stupid stuff. You feel me? He's going to school as well, but he's playing on the margins. He's not going to class. He's not like selling drugs or robbing people or anything. Like, he's not doing that, but he's not going to class. He wants to party all the time. He's not taking his education seriously. He's not taking his future seriously. He's not looking at Sam and saying, man, he messed up. I don't want to mess up like that. Because Sam used to tell him all the time, don't make the same bad decisions that I made. Don't go down that road. Now, he didn't start selling drugs or doing anything like that. But like I said, he didn't take his education seriously, and he wanted to party all the time. And he was missing a lot of his classes. And he would get in trouble a lot and all this and that. You know what they do to you when you don't go to school when you're in college. Put you on academic probation. You have to go to extra classes and do all this so you can get back up to par. They're trying to help him. But he didn't want to hear that. He didn't want to hear that. So he started to look at Sam in ways like, I'm better than him. And he couldn't understand why Sam's girlfriend that had all of this promise of a future would want to continue to be with him. He just could not get that. Now, Sam had started going to school because they provided college classes where he was at, the facility that he was at. So he enrolled in college and was doing great. Now, him and his girlfriend, him and his girlfriend are making plans for their future because now both of them are in college and getting an education, and they can really make tangible plans on how they're going to proceed forward in life together. But Matthew over here is free, in the free world, not taking his education seriously. Now he's looking at them and he's envious and jealous. So when you get envious and jealous, like a lot of people do, he wants to throw a monkey wrench in there. He wants to do something to make their hopes and dreams, their aspirations, as muddy and ugly as he sees his is. So he goes to Sam's girlfriend one day. She's at the dorm. And he's just looking around, seeing how she's living. And she's living pretty decently, for a college student. She lives on the campus, and, her parents provide for her, and she got a little allowance as long as she stays good, doing good in school. They give her a little money here and there, whatever, and she's making do with it. Like the typical college student, she's eating ramen noodles. Sometimes her and Sam will talk about the different ramen noodle recipes, because in the penitentiary, ramen noodles is a staple of the diet. Trust me on that. I'm probably going to eat one after I finish this episode. You know what I'm saying? They got really sick of me if you want to know the truth. But anyway, it is what it is. But she was holding her own with the help of her parents. So Matthew, while he's over there, he's starting to talk to her about what he wants to do with his life and all of these inflated ideas and all. She said, if you're going to do that, you got to have to take your education serious. He says, I do take my education serious. She said, no, you on academic probation because you've been missing class. She knows all about it. He's a party dude. He wants to go to parties all the time. He doesn't get his papers turned in on time. He's always trying to find a way around to get other people to write his papers and do all of this kind of stuff. He's not taking it serious. So when he tells her all of these things that he wants to do, she calls him on it. And she said, you're not serious. And he said, what about Sam? So she said, Sam gets it now. He's woke up, he's in school, and we're going to have a great life when he gets out. So he lies to her and he says, well, you think Sam is going to be with you when he gets out? And she said, yes. She's never had any reason to believe that he wouldn't. Now, let me tell you about something that happened once when Sam and Matthew were out. Like I said, they used to hang around a lot together. And they used to go to the mall and they would go to places together and kick it. And they would meet women, girls, from time to time. You know what I'm saying? They were young. That happens. But Sam had never cheated on his girlfriend, ever. Ever. But when they would be out at the malls and they would meet some girls or whatever, they did talk and they'd have fun and laugh or whatever the case may be. But Sam never took a phone number. He never did anything. But Matthew told her about these girls that they took out one time and that Sam had slept with one of them. So she had never heard this story before. Now, of course, Matthew is lying about it. It never happened. But I want you to understand something. When somebody does what Matthew does and tells a lie right there, it's that first story that sinks into people's heads, right? And when he told her this, she didn't know what to believe. She questioned the truth of it at first, but then she was like, why would he tell me this? That's how a lot of people say that. Well, why would he say that if it's not true? What reason does he have to lie? She's not knowing how he really feels in his heart about Sam and her. So she doesn't have anything to bounce that off of. She doesn't have anything to say he's jealous or he's envious, because he's never shown that to her. He's never shown that to her. So she doesn't see that. She has no motive that she can connect to what he just said, other than he's telling the truth. So now he knows when he goes to visit, and he takes her to visit, it's going to be a fight. So when he takes her to visit, he stays in the car. He doesn't go in. He said, I'm going to let y'all have some long time because I know y'all got a lot to talk about. So he stays in the car. She goes in, she visits Sam, and they have a big fight. Because she says, why didn't you tell me you did this and that, and you slept with this girl? And he's saying, I don't know what you're talking about. And the hardest thing to do, y'all, let me tell you something, is to defend a lie. How do you say I'm not guilty of something that you can't prove that you're not guilty of because you didn't do it? How do you prove that you didn't do that? How do you defend yourself against a lie? You can say, I don't know who that is, I don't remember that, and he didn't because it never happened. But she thought he was just trying to be evasive. She thought he was just trying to be secretive. So now what happened was that elevated Matthew and that dropped Sam down on the scale. She believed Matthew and she stopped believing Sam. Because she didn't understand why Matthew would say that about his cousin that he loved. She did not know that Matthew was jealous of Sam. She had no motive for him to lie. So she was like, he's telling me this because he cares about me. And he wants me to know the truth about Sam. This is what she's convinced herself of. So when they're leaving visit, she's still angry, crying. When they leave visit, the only person there to comfort her is Matthew. The only person there to comfort her is Matthew. So over the next weeks, he's comforting her and telling her everything is going to be all right. She's still talking to Sam on the phone, but she's not going to visit. She's taking a break. And you know what happened? Her and Matthew become closer and closer. So Matthew tells her, look, why don't I take you out to one of the parties so you can, relax and get this off your mind and then maybe things will be better between you and Sam. He's still playing that role. Like, I want things to work out between you and Sam. And you just need to relax a little bit. Get this off your mind. You know what I'm saying? Loosen up a little bit. So she agrees to go out with him because she's looking at him now as a protector. So they go out and he gets her a little tipsy. And she's having fun and dancing and all this and that. And he's looking out for her. And then he has to take her back to the dorm. And when he takes her back to the dorm, don't forget what I said. She's a little tipsy. But she's not sloppy. She's a little tipsy. So she understands what's going on. So she says, you know what? I'm going to get back at him. Now Matthew, he's smiling and grinning at this point because he knows what she means. But he says, what do you mean? And she said, well, if he slept with somebody, I should be able to sleep with somebody and then we'll be even. And he was like, I don't think that's a good idea. She said, well, I do. She said, and what if it was you? What if it was you? It could be our secret. But I just want to do to him what he did to me. Matthew was in all agreement with that. So when they got back to the dorm, they had sex. But here's the thing. See, people think about stuff in the moment. They don't think long term like they need to. Because in the moment, this let me get him back like he got me, that sounded good to her. But what she didn't realize was this. She was dealing with somebody with a lot of jealousy and envy in his heart. And his plan right then and there was to make sure that he would be a part of her life for the duration. So guess what he did? He didn't put on a condom. She told him to, but he didn't. So you know what happened. He comes inside of her. But then she panics. Wait a minute. No. You shouldn't. No, why'd you do that? He says, it's going to be okay. I can't have kids. You've heard that before. So she calms down. And then throughout the night, they had sex 3 or 4 more times before he finally left. And each time, he's coming inside of her. Well, you know what it is. She don't come on time, so now she's panicking. She goes to find out. She goes to the clinic, to the pharmacy, gets a kit. Yes, she's pregnant. She has not been with anybody but him, since Sam was locked up. And she still loves Sam. And now, she runs the risk of losing him. So she finally goes back to visit Sam, and she's sitting there and she's talking to him, and they're talking, and he's apologizing to her for making her upset, but he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never cheated on you, this, and that. I don't know why, you would start to believe that kind of stuff. And he said, why are you believing this? She said, because Matthew told me. Now, Sam thought that was puzzling because Matthew knew that he never did anything. But in hindsight, he started to think about the way Matthew had been treating him over the last few months, right? Before he told her this. And he could feel the distance coming between them. And he got to thinking, dang, will Cuz do that to me? Now, he's hearing all the stories in the penitentiary, from other people that have been here, for a long time and all this and that. And he's like, man, not my cousin, though. And he said to her, he said, look, I don't know why he told you that. I don't know what's going on, but he lied to you. And for some reason, when Sam said that to her, it rang true. So she started to cry. She started to cry, y'all. And she said, I got something I need to tell you. So she told him how she was upset with him and how she wanted to get back at him and how she had slept with Matthew. Now Sam, he's sitting there, he's trying to comfort her while she's crying. But he started to cry as well because he knew that his cousin had betrayed him in the worst way. And then when she tells him that she was pregnant, it crushed him. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to say. So he leaned back in the chair and he told her, he said, what are you going to do? And she said, I don't know. And he told her, he said, look, I love you. And I'm not going to leave you. But you have to figure out what you want to do. And she said, I'm not getting an abortion if that's what you think. He said, no. He said, I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to say is you have to decide if you're going to stay with me or you're going to continue to be with him. Because now, if you have this child, he's in your life. It's dead on that. He's in your life. Period. So what are you going to do? So she tells him, she said, look, right now I want to have a baby, but I want to stay with you. And I'm going to tell y'all something. A lot of people would have walked away from her, but Sam didn't. Sam didn't. And when she had the baby, boy, she's sending pictures in here to him, this, and that. And they both tried to pretend like it was their baby, not Matthew's and hers. You see what I'm saying? And that made Sam feel worse. But he loved her. He loved her. So it became a non-issue to him. But to Matthew, he made it an issue. He made it an issue because he was pushing himself on her to want to come and pick up the baby, be around, this and that. He was pushing the issue. His hatred for Sam had grown so much. His hatred for Sam had grown so much that he wanted to do anything to make him feel bad. And the family was torn. The family was torn. They blamed her. They blamed her for it. But her mother and her sister were with her. Sam's mother and sister were with her. Other family members were not. And they made it work. When Sam got out, they made it work. And the family came back together because they saw how much they loved each other. And it was nothing that they could do or Matthew could do to interfere with that. And now, as far as I know, they've gone on and had a great life. I don't know. But I wanted to tell you that story because you have to be aware that some people, for their own twisted reasoning, will look at you and be upset with you when you're in a worse situation that they're in. See, they don't know what's going on with you, really. But think about this. Matthew was mad at Sam and his girlfriend, and Sam was in the penitentiary. Why would you be upset with somebody in the penitentiary? Why would you be jealous or envious of somebody in the penitentiary? Because he wasn't happy with his own life. So he had to have somebody to blame. And that's what a lot of people do when they don't want to take responsibility and be accountable for what decisions they have made. They want to find anybody else to blame. And that never helps anybody. And I just wanted to drop that episode on y'all because I want you to understand that accountability and responsibility is something that I'm very big into. And if you're not on that, you're going to always be looking to find somebody else to blame for your problems. And you're never going to be able to solve your own. You're never going to be able to solve your own. You're never going to get the truth about what's going on with you worked out. But my thing, what I would say to you is this. Take a hard look at yourself and the decisions that you make. Irregardless of what somebody else may have going on with their lives, look at yours. Look at yours. Look at the decisions that you made to put you in the position that you're in. Not what somebody else got going on. Don't do that. It'll blind you to the realities of what's going on with you. Now, I'm going to wrap this episode up, y'all. But before I do, check out my book, Rivals. Hit the link up in the description section under this podcast episode, and you'll be able to get that book. You know what I'm saying? When you click on that link, it's just $20. Mess with me, y'all. And I got a movie coming out, an anime movie coming out about the book Rivals. It's going to be something to see, I'm telling you. It's going to be something to see. I want y'all to be a part of history with me now. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.